museums. I'm talking about predators so strange, so terrifying, and so completely alien that even most dinosaur fans have never heard their names. A shrimp that ruled the ocean. A fish with self-sharpening guillotine jaws. A saber-toothed predator that crossed an entire supercontinent just to take over a throne. And one creature that might have been the largest meat-eating land mammal ever discovered. Tonight, we are digging up the forgotten killers of prehistory. And trust me, some of these creatures make dinosaurs look tame. Section 1. The first apex predator ever. Travel back over 500 million years. The oceans are exploding with life during an evolutionary event called the Cambrian explosion. New animals are appearing everywhere. But whenever life evolves, something else evolves too. Predators. And the very first true apex predator looked like something out of a nightmare. Meet animalsThe. The name means abnormal shrimp, but this creature was anything but small. At nearly 3 feet long, it was a giant for its time, dwarfing almost everything else in the sea. And its body looked like pure science fiction. 2 massive grasping arms, a pineapple-sliced circular mouth, huge compound eyes packed with over 16,000 lenses. Those eyes gave it one of the most advanced visual systems of the entire Cambrian world. Imagine being a small ocean creature back then. Suddenly, the water around you darkens. 2 spiny arms snap forward, and you're dragged straight into a spinning ring of teeth. For years, scientists thought animalsThe crushed hard-shelled trilobite prey. But new studies suggest something even scarier. It was probably a high-speed pursuit predator, a hunter that could see you from far away, chase you down, and snatch you mid-swim. In other words, this alien monster was basically the great white shark of the Cambrian Ocean. Section 2. The fish with guillotine jaws. Jump ahead about 100 million years into the Devonian period. This era is often called the Age of Fishes. But one fish ruled them all, and it didn't even have teeth. Meet Dinosaurs. Imagine a predator the size of a car, with armor plating like a tank. The front half of its body was covered in thick bony plates that could deflect attacks from almost anything. But its real weapon was its jaw. Instead of teeth, Dinosaurs had massive bone blades. These blades constantly sharpened themselves every time the fish bit down. And the bite itself? Biomechanical studies suggest a jaw force of over 11,000 pounds, comparable to the bite of Tyrannosaurus rex. Even worse, it could open its mouth in 1/50th of a second, creating a powerful suction that literally vacuumed prey inside. Picture a shark being pulled helplessly into a living guillotine. That was life in the Devonian seas. For millions of years, Dinosaurs ruled them all. Section 3. The saber-toothed reptile that took over a continent. Now we move on to land. Around 260 million years ago, Earth looked very different. All the continents were fused together into one massive landmass, Pangaea. And the top predator stalking this giant world was something terrifying. Meet animalsThe. Imagine a creature the size of a tiger, with a reptilian face and enormous saber-like canine teeth. These predators belonged to a group called Gorgonopsians, early relatives of mammals. They hunted massive herbivores by delivering deep, catastrophic bites, then waiting for their prey to collapse. But here's the wild part. For decades, scientists believed animalsThe lived only in Russia. Then researchers discovered its fossils thousands of miles away in South Africa, which means this predator migrated across an entire supercontinent. Why? Because the local apex predators had gone extinct, and animalsThe saw an opportunity. It marched across the world and claimed the throne. But its rule ended abruptly during the most devastating extinction event Earth has ever experienced. The Permian-Triassic extinction event. An apocalypse that wiped out 90% of all life. Mid-video hook. And here's the crazy part. The extinction that killed almost everything actually created new monsters. Because when the world collapses, the survivors become kings. Section 4. The predator that survived Earth's worst apocalypse. One of those survivors was Moscorhinus. Before the extinction, it was already a powerful carnivore. But after the Permian apocalypse, it became something else entirely. A ruler of a broken world. The early Triassic landscape was a wasteland. Forests gone. Food scarce. Most animals extinct. To survive, Moscorhinus did something fascinating. It shrank. Fossils show the post-extinction species were much smaller than their ancestors. Scientists call this the Lilliput effect. When resources disappear, animals evolve to become smaller so they can survive on less food. But even in its downsized form, Moscorhinus was still the largest predator left alive. In a devastated world, it was the king of the ruins. Section 5. The giant predator. With a shocking family tree. Fast forward to about 45 million years ago. Deep in the forests of Asia, scientists discovered one of the most mysterious skulls ever found. It belonged to Andrewsarchus. The skull alone is nearly 3 feet long. At first, scientists believed it belonged to a gigantic wolf-like predator, a land carnivore the size of a rhinoceros. But modern research flipped that idea completely. The closest relatives of Andrewsarchus might actually be hippopotamus and whale, which means this monster might have looked less like a wolf and more like a giant carnivorous hippo pig. Instead of a sleek hunter, it may have been a brutal opportunist, crushing bones, stealing kills, dominating everything through sheer size and bite power. Whatever it looked like. One thing is certain. Owning a skull that big means you were not an animal anyone challenged. Section 6. The greatest bone crusher of them all. Finally, we arrive in Africa around 23 million years ago. This land was full of giant prey, early elephants, massive herbivores, and towering mammals, which meant only one thing. Something enormous was hunting them. Meet Megastotherium. Its name literally means the greatest beast, and honestly, that might not even be an exaggeration. This predator weighed over 1,000 pounds, about the size of a polar bear. But its skull was even more terrifying. Over 2 feet long, packed with slicing teeth designed to shear through flesh and crack bone. Unlike modern predators, Megastotherium could likely hunt animals larger than itself. For more than 10 million years, this beast dominated Africa as one of the most powerful mammalian carnivores ever to exist. Final hook. Conclusion. The truth is, dinosaurs were only one chapter in Earth's story of predators. Long before them, and long after them, our planet was ruled by monsters just as terrifying. Creatures like Anomalocaris, Dunkleosteus, Inostrancevia, Moscorhinus, Andrewsarchus, and Megistotherium. Each one rose to power, each one ruled its world, and each one eventually vanished. But their fossils leave us a chilling reminder. Earth has always been a battlefield, and somewhere in the deep past, there were predators even more terrifying than the ones we know today. If you enjoyed uncovering these forgotten prehistoric killers, hit the like button and subscribe. Because the deeper we dig into Earth's past, the more terrifying creatures we find. And trust me, we've barely scratched the surface. If you want, I can also turn this into a full 8-10 minute YouTube format with cinematic scenes plus detailed Kling Grok video prompts, which works really well for your Zoology Wiz channel style.